Sorry for that. So now we're going to talk about the differences between translation and interpretation in light of the sequential method. You're going to find this on pages 111 and 113. We mentioned before that as translators, we have more time to review the text, more time to go over the problems that we might come across. We have the chance to consult with other translators, other experts, and so on. We can even communicate with the client and ask for clarification if necessary. Now, translators' capacity each day could be, the book says 2,000 to 5,000. I would slightly disagree. I'd say beginners usually take they could, like absolute beginners, 500 words a day. Like when they start becoming more aware of the process, they may move up to 1,000 words a day. Let's say maybe third year, fourth year students would do 1,500. Those who work outside the university may move up to 2,000 a day. Once they become like more involved in translation, so we're talking about, let's say, B2, that's 3,000 to 3,500 a day. Absolute experts may do 5,000 if there's a deadline, but it's too hectic. So I'm going to say 4,000 a day, 3,500. That would be the average without, killing yourself. Like we said, as a translator, you can consult experts, colleagues, documents, databases, dictionaries, and so on. However, interpreters, they are exposed to, let's say, 100, 200 words a minute. And of course, they're not going to be interpreting an entire minute. An entire minute is a lot of words to remember. So 100 words is a lot to remember. That's why you would find that speakers are advised to speak for like 20 seconds. 20 seconds is a good rate. It's with more expert interpreters, they can handle a minute, but it's not going to be like absolute accurate, but or absolutely accurate. But if they use, let's say, note taking, write down information that reminds them of what was said, that could work. Okay. Whether it is simultaneous, so it would be like seconds processing what's being said, or consecutive, which would take minutes, there is absolutely no room for research or consulting a colleague. Like we said this earlier, you can't be interpreting and then say, guys, please just hold on, I'm going to ask about this. It doesn't work that way. Now, with relation to knowledge acquisition, usually while translating, you come across new things. So you want to go look them up, be aware of what you're going to learn about, discuss, or translate. But when it comes to interpretation, we also mentioned this. You have to ask about the topic a day to a week prior the interpretation event. So you acquire knowledge about the topic that you're going to interpret about before the interpretation, okay? But with translation, it happens during. So I'm stressing this because this could be an exam question. Now, while interpreting, you may come across new things, unpredictable things, things that are culturally bound or things that are linguistically new. And in that case, you have to be able to improvise. And that's why we said it's important to be good at improvising, because something might come up that you haven't prepared for. This doesn't happen with translation. With translation, things are, let's say, more open, because even if it's something unpredictable, you can go look it up and learn about it and watch a video about it and ask a person about it. And then you would have everything you need to understand it. But again, that does not happen when you interpret. So acquisition or knowledge acquisition happens before interpretation happens. And with translation, knowledge acquisition happens during the task. So while you're translating, because it doesn't make sense, just go and read about the text. Like you're asked to translate a text about, let's say, investment. I'm not gonna go and just spend hours reading about investment in Arabic and English. I may read something general to get the general idea, but basically I will be like reading the text I'm supposed to translate, and then chunk by chunk look for new information. But why do I, on the other hand, why when I ask to interpret, I do the reading before? Because I don't have anything, tangible. And even when they do provide me with the presentations they're going to deliver or the speeches they're going to deliver, I need to anticipate that they might, deviate a little bit. So I need to build up a glossary in my head and fill it with some of the possibilities that might come up during the interpretation. Translators can draft, revise, reread, correct multiple times, and even have a proofreader take a look before you deliver your translation. But with interpretation, sadly, that doesn't happen. Everything happens instantly. Sometimes they may be like, if they we also mentioned this, that if there's a mistake and they catch it, they correct it. Sometimes they don't even notice it. And the pressure is big because the person who's listening to you, if that person speaks excellent English or excellent Arabic and they understand both languages, they're going to be judgy. Why they're going to be judgy? It's not because they want to, but it happens, like they're listening to the speech, they're listening to your interpretation, they're comparing. And when you're not interpreting, it's easier for you to just judge because you're not under pressure and no one is judging you. So it's easy to judge others. That's why when I gave this course in real life, not online, and the students would, they try to interpret, and the other students who are sitting or attending or watching, they would be like judging, oh no, and correcting them. No, you missed this. You should have said that. You should have done this. But the truth is, when you're interpreting, like that same person who just judged me, if they are the ones interpreting, it's going to be difficult for them. Like you can't imagine the difficulty unless you actually do it. Okay, stress comes from deadlines when it comes to translation, right? But things happen at your own pace. You request the amount of time you need. Like I need 2 days for this task. I need a week for this task. So sometimes you have the power to choose. And it only gets stressful when you are behind schedule and about to meet the deadline. But with interpretation, it's different. So it's immediate. Pressure, like you're under the pressure of people again judging you, judging your quality as an interpreter, you sneezing, you coughing, you losing your voice, you starting so these things are all, let's say, very, very stressful. Okay. So it's more stressful than in translation. Again, with quality, you can perfect the text, but once you interpret, that's it. Like once you say the statement, once you utter the sentence, it's gone. And if there are people who are oversighting your quality, That's it. There's no way to tell them, oh, but I meant this. No, I wanted to say that. That doesn't happen. Basically, the units that you can look at when it comes to translation, they can be very big. Like you can go over the entire paragraph before you decide on the translations of the translation units. But when it comes to interpretation, the number of units is very limited because you have memory constraints, because you can't listen to an entire like 2 minutes and then interpret. That's very difficult. So the translation unit is very limited. Your memory it stands as an obstacle, and there's not room for you to have, there's no luxury of having time to go over an entire unit that consists of, let's say, 20 sentences for you to choose the perfect words or the perfect translations. And it gets even, of course, more difficult when we're talking about simultaneous mode, because in simultaneous interpretation, you have like less than a second to understand, translate, produce, understand, translate, produce, comprehend, reformulate, produce. Okay? You have any questions? Let me know.